Ooh, it's loading. All right, this should be good. I'm gonna try to actually pull this up on YouTube so we can see where we're at. Sometimes it takes a little while to load.
Just tell us when we are live, okay? Brian, you hear me?
Oh, we're live now, actually.
Good.
Yeah, we can start. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the awesome people from wherever you are watching this episode. So welcome to the another episode of Awesome Podcast. And this is Shubham, and I will be the Kinda host for today's episode. I'm really sorry for the camera issues, but yeah, I'm really excited for this session. And so so for this episode, as like I'm really excited, like we are finally the team of Awesome Podcast is finally into action after many discussions and after many plan. So like Tom, Brian, me, and Path are all the AWS community builders, and there we got this wonderful idea about starting this awesome podcast. And yeah, we will be releasing our official trailer for Awesome Podcast. So I'm really excited, and all of the team is really excited. So today in this episode, we will be focusing on easy ways, guidance, and resources for AWS Cloud Practitioner exams with Brian and Tom. And we will be sticking to the points like what is Cloud Practitioner examination, how they prepared for it, the YouTube videos they referred, and the document resources they referred, and their own resources as well. So yeah, to give you context about why AWS Cloud Practitioner is important and why there is a need of it. So if you are new to AWS Cloud, so this certification includes all the basics about AWS Cloud. You can get all the understanding of each services which can help you to implement your personal projects and many other things independent of the technical rules. And second reason I think is passing this certification marks your entry in AWS Cloud, and you are embarking on a journey to the AWS Cloud, and it might give you some competitive advantages in future. And the third point is like it verifies you have minimum level of knowledge in AWS. So like yeah, guys, we are live, and I'm really excited for this session. So moving forward, over to you, Tom and Brian. You guys rock.
Awesome. I'm so excited. This is so great. Shoma, that was awesome as an intro.
Very good. Very good. Especially the last bit about us rocking as well. That was really good.
Especially that last part. Definitely take pats on the back whenever we can. Totally. That's awesome. Tom, do you want to kind of go and just talk about kind of like an intro for you
yeah,
too?
well,
You were the driving force actually for getting this even started. You were the message in the Slack, in the AWS Slack channel.
True. It's true.
Yeah, we've got a clear plan going forwards as well, me guys, because we're going to be, we've started off with some introductory, kind of sessions, of which this is a part. And then we're going to build up to actually doing some live coding, which I'm really excited about. Brian, you were telling us about your VS Code. We've got the live server extension, which we're going to use. And also we're going to use, one of us is going to use our accounts, which we're going to push up the changes with the SDK. And then, we're going to do some group coding with S3 is our next week's challenge. So really looking forward to that. So yeah, this week, as Shubham, as you mentioned, we're starting off with just an overview of the Cloud Practitioner Exam, and just to call out to to AWS to say thank you for the program, the community program, where we actually part of our swag was to have the vouchers. So we had a voucher to do the exam. There's lots of other stuff, but this was great because it really gave us that impetus to get started and to do the exam. So we got the voucher paid, and yeah, I signed up for the exam. Oh, it was about a week ago, and yeah, I'm really pleased to have just about scraped through. And yeah, that was really good experience. Although, Brian, I think you've got a couple of stories about that, but there's quite a lot of moving my computer around to show the room and kind of just to make sure that everything was clear that I was. And then with Pearson, we have like a camera, and then you've got the kind of multiple choice questions that we were doing for the exam. There were loads of really useful prep. But Brian, do you want to tell us about your experience with the actual practitioner exam with Pearson?
Yeah, so Pearson was great. So just to preface that, but it was very stressful. And I think just taking the exam in COVID, it's very different like than just pre-COVID from what I've talked with other people, because it's I just remember like with when you take like, you know, the SAT or like a GRE or some sort of exam, you go to a test center and then you just take it there, and it's like maybe several hundred people a day, and it's just routine. But then in COVID, it's shifted. So now your, you know, workspace becomes the office or the testing center. So that took a huge adjustment because like, you know, like you take, you know, maybe like a quiz on your browser, but you never actually like take an exam, like a certification exam. So it kind of threw me off of the expectations, and I didn't really know going into the exam what to expect. But it was actually quite stressful because I signed up for the exam, and you know, I try to be very prepared of, okay, set my calendar invite, okay, a week before the exam, 2 days before the exam. Actually, I had it where it was like 2 weeks before, 1 week before, 5 days before. Like I was very much like, I'm gonna pass this exam if it's the last thing I do. So I was like very prepared for it. And I get to the exam, I log in, whatever it is, like an hour or an hour and a half before you technically start. And then it's like an hour and a half before you start, and then there's another hour of like wait time where the proctor will like try to survey you. So I was signed in on, you know, just like my like work computer, and it wouldn't work. And it was so stressful because I kept trying to sign on, and I was able to like sign on, and then as soon as it was like that, you get like a video screen, and it's like, great, you've been authenticated, you know, because you have to like log in on your phone and authenticate that, take all the Tom, like you just said, take all the photos of your, you know, your environment, make sure, you know, you don't have like notes or, you know, something egregious like that. And then as soon as it went to the video to the proctor, my computer would like shut down. And it was so scary because it's like the black screen, and it says like, you've had an error. And it's like the scary screen. It's like the blue screen, but for Mac. But it's not exactly like the type of error. But it kept happening, and I kept having to log in, and I was able to do that like 3 times before the exam time. And then I like freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to take this exam. And I was so excited because I did it like the last day right before Christmas, because I wanted to like have that as a holiday present. And it was just like not in the cards. And I was just trying to get on. And then I messaged like the proctor, and I was like, oh my goodness. And this is like so I go on the internet, and I felt weird because it's like says you're not supposed to have any other browsers, but I'm like, I need to contact Pearson. So I start talking to someone, and then they're like, you're right, like, you know, we'll have someone reach out to you. And then like 30 minutes go by, and I'm like, oh no, like who's gonna reach out to me? And then it was just so stressful. And then I'm trying to remember like actually what happened, because I think I was able to talk to someone eventually. Oh, you know what? So it was like, it wasn't able to work. And then I didn't know. And I had to contact them in the chat. And I basically kind of had to just like quit it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, did I waste my voucher? Like what happened? Like, oh, this is like awful. I felt so bad because it's like you prepare for this high level stuff. And you know, and this is like, certifications are important. Like we could also talk about that on like later, but I was so prepared to like make this happen. And it's just like this little thing would just not work. And I had to talk to the person. I actually ended up calling. So I had to basically like just give up at that point, close my computer, kind of like did some breathing of like, oh, it's okay. I'll resolve this with Pearson.
Yeah.
And then I called them. They were so nice. They were so helpful. And I was like, hey guys, I talked to this, you know, amazing woman. She was so helpful. But I was like, hey ma'am, like I don't know, like this not working. and basically like she walked me through and she was like, oh, maybe work computer doesn't work, like help me troubleshoot, and then help me sign up for an exam the next week, seamless. And I was able to actually ended up using my college laptop. So I had this Lenovo like 2 GB RAM. It is like the slowest computer, but it works specifically for this. And that was apparently what was able to work for me. So I don't know, I guess like the MacBook Pro with like all the stuff I have on my computer, maybe there was something that the software didn't like, but but it was just finding backups. But I was saying like Pearson was great helping me resolve it. So just a pro tip in COVID, like if something doesn't work, just get ahead of it and contact the proctor or the admin, because they want to help you. Like they actually were really nice, and I wasn't expecting. I expected them to be like stricklers, being like, you know, why doesn't this work? It's your fault. But they were so nice. They were amazing. So I'm just saying, like, if that's ever happened to you, like you're not alone. And it was so stressful to me. I was like sweating through my shirt. I was like, I felt like a failure, but I was able to resolve it. Lenovo, HP. Thank you. That's why you save your technology through the years. That's why you always hold on to stuff that's important. But yeah, it was just stressful, and I like wasn't the littlest thing like wasn't able to work. But of course, you know, you study for this exam and you know all these things, but of course the technology fails you. So that was.
I mean, it's in a way it's an extra test, isn't it? Yeah, it's very good actually. Yeah. I mean, it's a good. It was a very good experience, because once you've got that first exam out of the way, then it's nice to have that impetus of an exam. I think that's one thing we miss with coding, isn't it? I mean, perhaps I'm not sure what other people's experiences have been, but I started with a boot camp, so it wasn't like that common kind of university, you do your exams and then you do the qualifications. So having this cloud practitioner for me has been a great confidence booster, because it means, you know, I've managed to do one exam, and now I can see, okay, well, there's other ones which I can do. I think we're planning to do as a group the developer exam, aren't we, later on? That might take a little bit longer, but it's nice to have that aim and things to work towards. I've also got the Oracle Java exam I wanted to try as well, which would be with Pearson. Actually now they've got a Java, Oracle have got a, I think it's a 25-year anniversary. So the exam is, if you're into exams, you can do the exam for 15, I think it's 15 or 20 pounds. I think it's 25 pounds, to do an exam where it's normally 200 pounds. So yeah, so that's good. And yeah, how long do you think the developer exam would take for you to prepare for?
Yeah,
right.
I'd say like, I mean, it's sort of in two parts, because I had been working like with AWS Tech for kind of like around a year, maybe like a little bit like previous to that. But like I had that developer experience, but then studying for the exam, they're kind of like two different things. Like I kind of equate this to when I was, I'm just thinking about this like now, like back in high school when you had, oh goodness, I think it was the SAT subject tests. So I think that's what they were called. But you study, you know, like physics or chemistry or history, but like you might know the subject material, but then the exam is kind of assessing similar-ish things, but maybe different. So what you might be working with as from like a technology perspective, you might need to know a lot more technical things for the exam. So having that developer experience for about a year was helpful for me to like get that understanding of, you know, like it wasn't fresh. It was kind of like those names rang a bell, and I was like, oh, you know, like CloudWatcher, you know, like OS3, you know, oh, IAM, okay, I've heard about these things before. Oh, databases, okay, different types of Ec2 instances, okay, I've heard of these things before. But then actually studying for the exam, I want to say maybe I studied for around like a couple months. I think because I signed up for it in December, but I had signed up for it pretty sure in November. But I had already been a little bit prepping, but I got really serious from November to December. So I'd say it was like a month of like, I'm studying for this. And that's where I have my little trusty cloud notebook.
Oh yes. Yeah, that was like, good. Because you shared some notes with us as well, didn't you? Which was really helpful actually.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny because it's like paper like written, but it's like a technology exam. So it's like it helps me. Like I always was like that in college of like writing things down. It helps you remember. And then when you type it up, another way to remember it. So
Excellent. So that's for the cloud practitioner.
Mhm.
And then what's the time frame do you reckon for the developer? When do you reckon you'll go for that? For the
Yeah.
developer exam?
When will I sign up for that? That's the real question,
No
Tom,
pressure,
isn't
no
it?
pressure. Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think maybe in like a couple months. I
Yeah.
definitely need to like study for it. I think I was kind of rushed to take the cloud practitioner exam because I told you I kind of wanted that holiday present. So now it's maybe like I don't know. Like my birthday's coming up, so maybe I need like a birthday present. So that type of incentive.
Oh, right. When's your birthday?
Oh, it's in April. It's like the end of
April.
April. So
Oh.
I have like a month-ish time to like prepare.
Yeah, that's quite short. That's quite short.
I know.
You
I
go
mean,
for
like
that.
it's weird though, because that's what I was saying. Like you develop with
Yeah.
technologies, but then like the exam tests a lot of technical things that you just like might know generally about, but not specifically about. Like I thought the cloud practitioner was very situational. So it's like if you wanted to increase, resiliency, which of the following tools would help you enable that, or which of these, EC2 instances like is blah and blah. So that's sort of where I think like studying for the exam actually is quite helpful because you might be using a specific type of EC2 instance, for your work, which is great, but you also might have to know like the multiple other types of instances and the pros and cons of each. So
Yeah. Cool. Okay. I mean, it's a massive book, isn't it? The developer book compared to the cloud practitioner. I think the cloud practitioner is about that big, so developers about that big possibly. So maybe that's
like a few months. Give it a
different.
few months.
Yeah, I'll have to see. But definitely sticking on the topic, because that's what we're mainly talking about today, isn't it? As Shubham's mentioned, we're talking about the cloud practitioner, and just to call out to everyone, some people say you can do it in a week. We took a bit longer perhaps, but we're here to kind of give what our experience, and definitely to say go for it. It's a really good starting thing to do, to give you that overview of just all of the products which AWS offers. AWS is just such a massive force going forwards in networking and computing, web development. So I think I think we're agreed, guys, that it's an absolutely base kind of qualification, isn't it, really? But lots more for us to do. How did you go about? I mean, what were some of the best materials that you used to prepare? Because your notebook was fantastic, and some of the notes that we used for that. But what were some of the courses that you looked at, and kind of what did you find useful for the cloud practitioner?
Yeah, definitely. So I signed up for a Cloud Guru around the like the Black Friday holiday deals because like I'm such a sucker for like deals and discounts and sales, and they had like a great Black Friday deal. So I was like, oh, I got to jump on this, and then you lock in that yearly good rate. So so I had that. So a Cloud Guru is awesome. Like they have hands-on labs, they have videos, they have tutorials. I'm just a huge fan of them. Actually, I think a couple people from a Cloud Guru are community builders. So they're just like a great team. They're very knowledgeable. So I did that, and I did their cloud practitioner track. And then what was it? I think Parth or Tom, you had recommended the free code camp video.
Yeah, that was quite good, wasn't it? Yeah, because that was about 2 hours of stuff, wasn't it, from Andrew Brown?
It was so helpful. It was like going through the cloud, like a Cloud Gurus program was amazing, but then having that as like the free code camp as another extension off of that. Like I just even remember from college when I was studying for exams, having different books. I always learn from like just being thrown into the thick of it. So hearing different people explain things, you'll pick up on different things. Like some people might focus in on, here's the nuances of EC2 instances, and one might be more general. So you're able to really hear like at a high level what something is, but then at a more specific level at the ground, like really what are the minutia, like what are the actual details you need to know. So those are the two programs that I studied for. And those are really helpful for me. The one white paper that I would recommend, and I'm going to butcher the name, but it's like the AWS well architected framework.
Yeah.
It was like this. It was like the 6 reasons of why you need to know AWS and why AWS's value proposition is so helpful. That was actually really eye-opening for me because, you think like, oh, cloud serverless. But then it actually dives into like, well, why do you need this? And Shubham, like Tom, and part, like we all talk about this, but it's like when you're able to deploy something with resiliency, with, you know, high availability, you know, with something with like Elasticache, and you're able to like have data that people are pulling most frequently to like be able to get that sent the easiest. That was like interesting, because then I was like, oh, so this, like with Netflix, for example, like if a bunch of people are streaming Friends or The Office or, you know, I don't know, Money Heist or something that's like, or Ozark, these like really popular shows in the States, like multiple people watching that show, if you could, you know, save sort of within a region or availability zone, you save that data, people can stream from it more quickly, but you don't need to have all of Netflix's shows within the same availability zone all the time, like especially within like caching data. And that was really interesting for me, because I clearly like, you know, have a lot to learn, like in terms of how that actually works and set up. But that was very eye-opening for me to hear like, oh, so that's the value proposition of a system like AWS at scale, because it's going to save you money, because you don't need to load the millions of shows that are on Netflix. You only need to load the ones that are most frequent. And then maybe you need to make a call to the database to be able to pull the data that someone might get more rarely, but you don't need to host that, because it's, you know, once a 5-month span for pulling that type of data, versus people are streaming the show like every single night. So that was kind of eye-opening for me to see that at scale. So just a quick plug on white papers. They might be long, but they're pretty important, especially if you read them. And AWS says that you need to read them. So if AWS says it, you probably should do it. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're available on the AWS website, aren't they? All of these white papers. I think there's two in particular you need to read for the practitioner exam, isn't there? There's the well-architected framework, as you mentioned, and the billing and pricing. I think billing and pricing does come up quite a lot as part of the questions. So yeah, I would agree that these white papers are useful. Definitely the Cloud Guru was fantastic, such a great overview, and it was lovely to have that kind of practical aspect as well, wasn't it? The labs. I quite enjoyed that with the Cloud Guru, and also with Quick. I think it's called Quick Labs. Is it Quick? I forgot.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think it's Quick Labs. I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's Quick Labs. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, with a W, isn't it, Shubham? Yeah. Quick Labs. Yeah. Cool, thanks, Shubham. So yeah, definitely they're really good. The labs, what's quite good about the Quick Labs ones is they log you in. I really like that, actually. They log you in, and then you have the instructions to follow, and you follow those alongside. So that was really good. And also on the final day, that was one thing about the exam that was really good, because when it's booked in, I told everyone at work that I was going to do it as well. So I was, you know, set myself up a bit really. But then subsequently, on the day, I did a little kind of few cram sessions from Neil Davis's course. And that was like really nice, because it was like a video on each of the topics. And it was a cramming on each of them. And that just gave me a really nice overview for that final exam. So that was really helpful as well. So yeah, no, there's definitely really good experience of kind of forcing us to kind of learn some of the background for the cloud exams. And then were there any other kind of books that we found useful? I'm not sure. I can't think offhand.
I think I did a lot of research. I'm actually going through my notebook right now, just to research and listen to YouTube videos. I kind of was like struggling to understand the difference between like just the different types of Ec2 instances, and kind of like when in which you would deploy different types of ones. Because like, especially for like data availability and like just working with VMs, you don't necessarily have to know technically how to do that, but knowing like the value proposition of like, you'll use Glacier versus something else for like this specific reason. Especially with like, I'm looking at this now, like Elasticache, like auto scaling. There was a lot of like, I thought like specific things that I just wanted to like dive into, because I didn't really have, you know, a background in these types of things. But specifically with databases, like something I'd recommend, I'm actually looking at like how I broke all this down. But it was
Cool.
like relational databases, you're looking at like RDS, that's Aurora or Aurora serverless, non-relational databases, DynamoDB, DocumentDB, data warehouse with Redshift, search with, Cloud Search, Elasticsearch, and then graph databases with Amazon Neptune. It was like learning sort of the different types of databases, but then blocking it down to the AWS services and solutions that service that. That was really helpful for me. And I actually ended up writing that quite a lot of like, okay, here's like what I want to do. And then here's the solutions that enable that. And here's why I would do it or not. So kind of like your different columns and your Venn diagram or your chart.
Yeah.
That was helpful. So kind of like rewriting, but I had to like Google stuff if I was wondering like this or that, and then try to find YouTube video or, Medium, a really great resource for blogs. Oh, the dev channel, like AWS, community builders, that dev blogging platform is amazing. So many smart, brilliant people in that channel. So I've learned a lot from those blog posts for sure.
Yeah, dev.2, you mean? Yes, that's really good actually. There's loads of stuff on there, and that's the great thing on the community builders channel, isn't it? People are boosting those articles, and they're really some really interesting stuff. One thing that was quite interesting that came out was his name's Lou. You've got his what's his online name?
The dev coach.
Yes, the dev coach. Yeah, he mentioned in a video just shared today about the Cloud Resume Challenge, and I think that could be quite a nice basis for us to work on for our S3 and some of the other stuff we're going to do. That is cloudresumechallenge.dev /instructions, and that's quite a nice kind of list of things that you can follow. So the first one is certification, then it's got HTML, CSS, and then setting up a static website, and then HTTPS with the S3 static website, and pointing to a custom DNS domain name to the CloudFront distribution. So Amazon Route 53, then you've got a bit of JavaScript added. So there's all these steps to follow. So it's quite a nice series of steps there. So we could try and follow those when we do our live coding. So yeah, so next week we're going to start on the S3, isn't it? S3 live code. So how are we going to do that? What do you reckon? What's the best approach? Are you going to share screen then, Brian? What's the plan?
Yeah. I think all of us, we could really participate in that, and I think it'll be kind of cool to have like someone as like the AWS arm, someone as the coding arm. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from the theme that I use on VS Code, so I was a huge fan of like neon, glowy, like synth vibes. So hopefully it'll be fun to look at, and of course the AWS website, always great to see that as well. Wonderful UI. But we'll make it fun. And I think it'll be helpful for people to really see, what it takes to actually do this type of stuff, because sometimes people want to know like the high level things, and some people want to know, like the actual technical things. But I often find like the conversation trends towards just the high level, like business aspect. And then you often are like, well, how do you actually do this? So I think it'll be fun to enable people to see really, I'd say how easy it is when you know how to do it. So hopefully we can illuminate that for people, and maybe, break down some, limiting beliefs and barriers that, people might be like, oh, I'm intimidated to start, or, I'd like to actually see what this looks like, and, how easy it is to do some of this stuff. So yeah, and then we'll kind of scale up from there. But Tom, you created a really great program, I think, of all those different, curriculum or curricula.
We've got a clear plan.
Topics.
We've got a clear plan. So we've got how to create a website with S3. Then we're going to do an EC2 and private cloud. Then we're going to look at how to use a load balancer. And then we're going to do setting up a database. All of this to start with is going to be in the console, I think. So I think that'll be our starting point. But we'll try and use local development as well, because it'd be great to see a bit of live coding as well. And then we've got some other topics, including CloudFormation, architecting, and looking at setting up some alerts, and finally an AWS Lambda. So that'd be really cool. With our deploying locally, we can use what approach do you think is the best way, Brian? Are we gonna use an SD? Are we gonna do SLS deploy or from a local? I'm just trying to remember what the best approach there is.
Yeah, we might have to do like some troubleshooting because I'm not actually sure. I feel like we talked about it, and then we're gonna be like actually like on the spot, being like, maybe we'll do it before, but just to like test it out.
It's gonna be good, isn't it? We're gonna do it. It's gonna force us to actually improve as well. So
yeah,
hopefully
I think
we'll
it'll be cool though to kind of
yeah.
think about it, because there's not especially when you do like new things, it kind of can spur on like, you know, creativity. So maybe we might find like a really creative way to go about this, and actually to make this where it's, I don't know, like multi-screen sharing, and you get to see the code, but then you also see, you know, the AWS environment. And I wonder if there's a way to do like multi-sharing, like multi-screen sharing. I feel like there has to be. I've definitely seen that on different channels. So this will be more for us to explore and, you know, test out as well. So this will be fun.
Yeah, because I've got the S3 from the console. I mean, the AWS console quite sorted, so that's good. But then we'll have to get a clearer statement for. Yeah, I think it can be probably. Yeah, we'll follow the. There's quite a nice one here with SDK for JavaScript, so we'll try and follow that to start with. And so it's going to be good. We're going to use we'll have to be a little bit careful about sharing keys and stuff, won't we? But we'll be we'll plan that out ahead. And I think there's one here actually which I can see, which is sharing AWS doc SDK examples. So we can try and follow this from the AWS documentation.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, really exciting stuff, and it's great to keep this going. Obviously, we are gradually improving. Everyone's understanding it is our second one, isn't it? It's not. We're not quite battle hardened yet, are we? Possibly.
I feel like we're getting our, what's the phrase? Like we're getting our feet wet.
Yeah, we're getting our feet wet.
With that phrase, but I mean, I think with any type of channel, right? You experiment, you test, you see what works, and I think that's the joy of content creation at the end of the day. Because if you try to go in, and this is actually something I'm working on too, is like you can make it perfect, or you can actually do it. And I honestly think that I'm a fan of like, we'll make it look good at least, but you can kind of get into this perfection of like, oh, you know, are we doing this in the most efficient, best way possible? And are these all the best things that we can do, you know, or can we just start and like get the conversation going? And I also, from the community, we've gotten a lot of great feedback from different topics, different people that might be guests on the show, you know, so spoiler alert. But I think we're kind of just, you know, figuring this all out. And I think that's, again, the joy of being a community builder to being just an innovator, is thinking of new ways of talking, sharing information, discussing, you know, relevant information. So I mean, I'm excited. This is going to be fun, and I'm learning a lot from this experience too, and working with you all. So
excellent. No, I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll do a practice session, during the week, and we'll share our experiences with you guys on the day. So next one coming up next Saturday, 3:30-ish. Once we've had our little rugby huddle to start with, and then. We're going to get stuck into writing locally from S3, locally HTML, JavaScript, and then putting it onto S3. So that's going to be great, guys. We're looking forward to it. Good stuff.
I'm excited. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. So it was really exciting episode, and like it was indeed very informative. And like it was great hosting this episode. And like all the awesome people out there, so if you guys want to be a part of Awesome Podcast, if you want to share your AWS projects, experiences and knowledge, then please feel free to reach out to us. And so just stay tuned, guys. We will be coming up with more awesome episodes with improved quality and quantity content as well. So this is just a start. And yeah, I will make sure like you can see me as well next time.
We can hear you though.
Yeah,
That's the important thing.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Cool.
Oh, and by the way, we have 10 subscribers. Woo!
Wow.
So
Come
starting
Yeah.
strong.
on. It's good stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah, just to echo Shabam, if anyone's interested in, collaborating with us, talking about, AWS Cloud, DevOps, even DevSecOps, this is actually something I've been, talking to a lot of people actually for work about just like DevSecOps. One of my friends, she actually just passed the SysOps exam, and I think she's working on the DevSecOps or that type of specialty exam. But yeah, it would be interesting to kind of talk to about the just system architecture and how you actually work within software, infra, like at company or or on the job, as well as how to build your own project. I think this is relevant. A lot of people are looking at side hustles and building their own app and software, so this could spur on a lot of innovation. And I think just making content accessible is something that we all talk about as a group. So any ways that people are interested in supporting that and making a cool app, and deploying that on AWS, that'd be really fun. So,
Yeah, really
the
cool.
future knows no bounds, as they like to say.
It's good. Got a good mini community here, guys. We're doing well.
Yeah.
Great. All right, then we'll next week then it's going to be infinity and beyond. That's our motto at the moment. To be rewritten.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Good.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool, guys, then.
Yeah, well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will catch you all next week, next Saturday.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'll log off from here. Yeah, okay. Talk soon, everyone, and looking forward to seeing you and subscribe on the channel so you can follow along for more updates.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.